The night my brother won Best Actor, he got wasted and went wild online. I don't want to be your brother anymore. I just want to be your husband. X blew up. The internet went insane. The new Best Actor just came out. He's gay. OMG. I can totally handle having a brother-in-law. Just tell us who he is. It wasn't until the famous actress Jenny posted a cozy photo of the two of them that things calmed down. Her caption: "This isn't how you treat a bro." The internet collectively, if a bit disappointedly, went, "Oh, so that's the brother he was talking about." But no one knew that my brother's post was actually meant for me, his little brother. Later that night, he pinned me against the mirror, forcing me to call him husband over and over again. An hour before Oliver posted that tweet, I was clinging to his shoulders, gritting my teeth. "Oliver, how much did you drink?" The swaying light overhead was blinding. Oliver looked down at me. "What did you call me?" I was fading fast, completely drained from the exertion. I didn't answer right away. Oliver tapped my cheek gently, guiding me. "Call me bro." Bro. It was impossible not to give in to him in this situation. Otherwise, Oliver leaned down and rewarded me with a kiss. Just as the light stopped swaying, he gently bit my lip. "Alex, I'm done with this." But by then, I was so exhausted I had already passed out. I never got to ask him what he meant. And so, I completely missed the tweet that set the entire internet on fire. It wasn't until the morning, when a call from my brother's agent, Rick, jolted me awake. "Alex, get on X right now." His first words were a furious accusation. "I'm warning you, if you two destroy this company." His voice was low and threatening. "I will leak every single one of those photos." Then he hung up. I scrambled to open my phone. Oh crap. Trending at #1 was Oliver's post from last night. "I don't want to be your brother anymore. I just want to be your husband." The comment section was a war zone. The new Best Actor just came out? OMG. I can totally handle having a brother-in-law. Just tell us who it is. Just then, the bathroom door opened. The man responsible for all this walked out, a bathrobe hanging loosely on his frame, his hair still damp. He came over to kiss me. "Why are you up so early?" His voice was still thick with satisfaction. When I didn't respond, his kisses moved to my earlobe. "Are you mad? Did I hurt you last night?" Oliver lifted his head to look at me. "Are you injured?" His hand started to drift downwards. I pushed it away and showed him the screenshot of his post. "What do you think you're doing, Oliver?" Compared to my trembling voice, he was completely relaxed. "I posted it last night." He said it while pulling me into his arms. A playful laugh was in his voice. "What, you're not happy about me making us public? Are you insane, Oliver?" He let me shove his hands away. He got up, lit a cigarette, and spoke calmly. "I'm planning to quit. We can move abroad. You're healthy now. There's no reason for me to stay in this industry." He had really left himself no way out. "Do you have any idea what quitting right now means?" "It means all your endorsements, your movies." "I know." Oliver cut me off, his voice cold. "Then what do you want me to do? You want me to keep watching you bow and scrape in front of producers and directors? To watch you stand right in front of me while I have to put my arm around someone else?" I froze. "Bro, Alex, I'm telling you, I can't take it anymore." I didn't know he was just as miserable as I was, that he was carrying even more of a burden. Oliver and I are stepbrothers from a blended family. 7 years ago, after my mom and his dad died in a car crash, 18-year-old Oliver and 16-year-old me were left to fend for ourselves. He got into the entertainment industry entirely for me. The year Oliver graduated from college, I was diagnosed with leukemia. The staggering medical bills made him turn down a lucrative offer from a multinational corporation. He chose the entertainment industry for the fast money. And after I graduated, I was determined to stay by his side as his personal assistant. I wrapped my arms around his neck. "I'm sorry, bro. I wasn't thinking about how you felt." He never liked it when I apologized. He leaned in and silenced me with a kiss. The alcohol from last night probably hadn't worn off completely. He was even more ferocious than before. He left fingerprints on my waist. I clung to his shoulders, my voice breaking. "Bro, please don't quit. okay? I love seeing you on screen. After saying it, I leaned in and kissed him. He stared at me, his grip tightening. But I knew he had agreed. Before I left for the company that morning, Oliver was still fast asleep. 3 hours later, when I returned home with the agreed-upon plan, Oliver was just waking up. The man stood by the window smoking, wearing a black bathrobe with the belt loosely tied. "You went to the office?" I nodded and walked over to him. He stubbed out his cigarette and opened the window to air out the room. I wrapped my arms around his waist and looked up to kiss him. "What are you doing?" Oliver chuckled, holding the back of my head so I couldn't pull away. "Weren't you the one who wouldn't let me kiss you at all by the end of last night? What's got you so bold now?" I didn't respond to his playful teasing. After a few seconds of silence, I looked him straight in the eye and spoke. "Bro, the only way to salvage this now is for you and Jenny to have a PR relationship." Jenny was gorgeous, but in the industry, she had a one-of-the-guys persona. This was the final ultimatum Rick had given me. The moment I walked into his office that morning, he'd thrown a cup of tea in my face. "Alex, I'm giving you one chance. Let's see if you can take it. Go convince Oliver to confirm that the bro in his tweet is my actress, Jenny." Rick's gaze was cold and sharp. "I know he's refused to do any PR relationships or even a single kissing scene for you. But if he doesn't change his tune now, and the company goes down, I won't mind dragging you two down with it." "What did you say?" After hearing me out, a sarcastic smile spread across Oliver's face. "You want me to go hug and kiss another woman?" My hands, hanging at my sides, clenched tighter with every word he said. Just thinking about that image made it hard for me to breathe, let alone seeing it. But Rick's not-so-subtle warnings from that morning echoed in my ears. "Alex, remember that A-list actress who killed herself last year after her scandal broke? So young. What a shame. That's just how this business is. The higher you climb, the harder you fall." My silence only made Oliver more furious. He smashed the ashtray next to him. "I told you to speak, Alex." I flinched, my face turning even paler. Oliver's anger instantly evaporated. "Did I scare you? It's my fault, bro. I shouldn't have yelled at you." He cradled the back of my head, apologizing over and over. I buried my face in his chest and started to cry. I knew about the years of pressure he'd been under, but Rick had leverage over us. I couldn't let my brother's reputation be ruined. 2 summers ago, just before Oliver was about to terminate his contract with the company, Rick hired someone to follow us and take pictures. Photos of me and Oliver holding hands, kissing, even in bed. We looked like any couple deeply in love. Rick used those photos to successfully blackmail me into convincing Oliver to renew his contract. And we both tacitly agreed not to tell Oliver. I knew if Oliver saw them, he might actually kill Rick in a fit of rage. In the end, Oliver agreed to the PR relationship with Jenny. "Hi, I'm Jenny." At the company, Jenny flashed a bright smile and extended her hand to Oliver. Rick just laughed at Oliver's cold expression and tried to smooth things over in a low voice. "Oliver, come on, say hi." Oliver glanced up, giving Jenny a once-over. "Pleasure." He didn't even bother to introduce himself. Rick looked a little embarrassed and made an excuse to leave first. I tried to break the tension. "Jenny, thank you so much for agreeing to this." Jenny shot a glare at Oliver before turning to me. "It's just PR. No thanks necessary." Her gaze suddenly stopped at the side of my neck. "What's this here?" She started to raise her hand. Before she could touch me, Oliver abruptly pulled me over. When he looked at Jenny again, his eyes were hostile. "What do you think you're doing?" Jenny didn't bother arguing with him. Her eyes just darted between the two of us. Then, with a knowing smirk, she drew out her words. "Oh, so you're the brother he's trying to cover for?" I immediately tensed up. "Jenny, relax, I signed an NDA. I won't say a word." I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Jenny promptly posted a cozy photo with Oliver on her social media. Her caption, "This isn't how you treat a bro." The internet collectively, if a bit disappointedly, went, "Oh, so that's the brother he was talking about." More and more fans started to ship Oliver and Jenny. But Oliver's mood got darker by the day. For one event, The company arranged for Oliver and Jenny to attend together. In front of the cameras, their frequent whispers and meaningful glances created the ultimate couple vibe. I stood watching from a distance. Even knowing it was all fake, a dull ache spread through my chest. That night, as soon as we got home from the event, Oliver pushed me against the wall and kissed me, his hand on the back of my neck. "Are you satisfied, Alex?" He bit my lip, his voice fierce. "What were you thinking, watching me hold another woman?" I sniffled, unable to hold back a sob, but I still managed to force a smile. "I was just thinking, it's so good that you can still stand in front of the cameras, safe and sound." Oliver's grip on my neck tightened. He stared at me, his gaze heavy. He was furious, but he was still holding back from taking it out on me. But all that anger was channeled into something else. He pressed down on me, sweat dripping from his forehead. "Can't you just admit you're not happy?" That night, trying to force me to admit I was jealous, he practically tortured me until dawn. I decided then and there that I couldn't be stubborn with my brother anymore. The next morning, I checked Oliver's social media as usual. The moment it refreshed, I saw a comment that had been posted just a second before. "TCH, Oliver's just fooling you fans." I know who that post was really about. Two guys living together. I even have photos of them. My hand trembled as I immediately deleted it. Thankfully, it was early and not many people were online. I had deleted it right after it was posted. I picked up Oliver's phone and opened it. A DM, almost buried in his inbox, jumped out at me. "Mr. Best Actor, if you don't want your secret out, bring 300,000 to the Regent Hotel." I calmly memorized the address, deleted the message, and blocked the user. I glanced back at Oliver behind me, still sound asleep. I let out a sigh of relief. I got up, got dressed, and rushed to the private room at the hotel. Why isn't Oliver here? Is he making his little brother take the fall for him? The man who posted the comment was sitting comfortably in the room, sipping tea. "You just want money. What difference does it make who brings it?" I didn't want Oliver to find out, so I had emptied my personal account and borrowed another 30,000 from a friend to scrape the money together. I held up the card. "Where are the photos?" The man tossed his phone in front of me. There were only 3 candid shots of Oliver kissing me. No backups. "I'm only after the money." I breathed a sigh of relief and asked another question. "Where did you get these?" "A week ago, I was meeting Rick to talk about a role. He got drunk, left his phone unlocked. These 3 were all I could find. Now that the role fell through, I need the cash." He stood up, ready to leave. "Don't worry. I'm planning to move abroad. I'm not interested in exposing you guys." "Is that so?" The door to the room swung open, and a voice I knew all too well filled the space. I froze, feeling the blood drain from my face. Oliver walked in and took off his mask. "You'd better be as discreet as you claim. If you take the money and then double-cross me, don't say I didn't warn you." The man clutched the card, his relaxed demeanor gone. "I understand." Soon it was just me and Oliver in the room. Beneath his black baseball cap, his eyes were so cold they were unreadable. The silence was eerie. Oliver finally spoke, his voice soft. "So, Rick has been blackmailing you with photos this whole time?" I had a gut feeling that his calmness was a bad sign. "Bro." He didn't answer. My explanation got stuck in my throat. "Yes." Oliver asked again, "Is that why you didn't want me to quit?" "Bro, you need to calm down." "Rick," he suddenly laughed, cutting me off. "All right, I get it." He put his mask back on and walked past me, leaving quickly. By the time I paid the bill, I couldn't catch up to him. About half an hour later, I rushed to Rick's office. Oliver was sitting casually on his desk, his back to me. His mask hung from one ear. Rick was sitting motionless in his chair. "Alex, you're finally here. Quick, talk to your brother." When I got closer and saw the scene, my breath hitched. Oliver was holding a pen, the tip pressed right against Rick's eyelid. His expression was so lazy it seemed like he could plunge it in at any moment. "Oliver, don't be crazy." I took a deep breath. Oliver ignored me. He took a pack of cigarettes out of his pocket, tapped one out, and put it between his lips. He looked down to light it as he spoke. Tell me, what exactly have you forced my brother to do these past 2 years with those damn photos? Rick didn't dare move, beads of sweat forming on his forehead. Oliver, you make me sound like some kind of monster. I just had your brother convince you to listen to the company. Your career is taking off. Isn't that good for both of you? Oliver laughed. If it weren't for you, I would have quit 2 years ago. As he spoke, he pressed the pen harder. Rick cried out in pain. Oliver, if you drag us both down, aren't you afraid of losing everything you have now? Oliver flicked his ash, his tone indifferent. Do you really think I care about any of this? Oliver was past the point of being just a flavor of the month celebrity. He didn't need fans to spend money on him. He was the one giving them gifts at his birthday fan meets. He would book entire theaters to treat his fans to his movies when they were released. In other words, he and his fans had a mutual relationship. Chances were, even if Oliver came out, his fans wouldn't abandon him. What I had always been afraid of was the public backlash. The standoff continued, the tension thick. In the end, it was Rick who broke first, because he knew Oliver was crazy enough to do it. Okay, let's both take a step back, he said, his eyelid trembling. Oliver, you do one more movie for the company, and I'll delete the original photos and let you go. But you better be prepared to pay the outrageous contract termination fee. Oliver watched him, scrutinizing. I knew what kind of person Rick was, so I spoke up first. What kind of movie? Rick's gaze was meaningful. After a long pause, he finally said it. A gay-themed movie. I stared at him. Rick added, with a kissing scene. His eyes were fixed on Oliver. It was a silent taunt. Taking the role meant Oliver would have to break the rule he had maintained for 3 years in the industry. It was his bottom line. I'll do it. Oliver didn't even hesitate for long. The sharp tip of the pen slid down Rick's face to his throat. Rick's expression turned tense again. Rick, you must have guessed how much I want to kill you right now. Oliver's calm tone was, paradoxically, even more terrifying. It sent a chill down the spine. So you'd better not let me down. I had never seen Rick look so pathetic. The puddle of questionable liquid dripping from his pant leg said it all. After so many years clawing his way up in the entertainment industry, what hadn't Rick seen? But that didn't mean he wasn't afraid of dying. And a madman like Oliver, who had nothing to lose, was someone he couldn't afford to provoke. On the way back from the company, Oliver was silent. I had expected a storm of fury, but he said nothing, just sat on the balcony smoking by himself. Bro, I'm sorry. I opened the balcony door and hugged him from behind. Probably from all the smoking, Oliver's voice was hoarse. Alex, it's my fault. He turned around, pulled me into his arms, and buried his head in the crook of my neck. The night was quiet. My fingers, wrapped around Oliver, trembled with pain. I felt a dampness on my neck. Oliver was crying silently. He was sorry for the 2 years I had endured in silence. Sorry that the principles he had held onto for so long were about to be compromised. The day filming began, Jenny stopped by once. She wore sunglasses that covered half her face and coolly had someone deliver a trunk full of gift boxes to my hotel room. The assistant director saw this and whispered gossip in my ear. So thoughtful, bringing all these things for Mr. Pei. Are he and Jenny for real? I just smiled and brushed it off without answering. In reality, Jenny had brought them for me. Oh, Alex, you're gonna have a tough time following that high-maintenance princess of yours. She held my hand, talking to me like a mother advising her son. Look, I brought you a bunch of supplements and other stuff. You'll definitely need them. If he gives you any trouble, you come work for me, you hear? Meanwhile, the princess she was talking about was glaring at her impatiently, silently urging her to leave. Jenny completely ignored him. After hemming and hawing for a moment, she handed me a pink box. Her eyes darted around as she mumbled. It's not convenient with so many people around. Alex, when you have a chance, could you give this to the actress playing the third lead? I've got to go. As soon as the words were out, she was gone. I stared in the direction Jenny had disappeared and suddenly understood her cryptic comment from before. It turned out we were providing cover for each other. The other male lead was Jason. It was an open secret in the industry that he was gay. He had a delicate, handsome face, But surprisingly, there was another man who was always with him. Dressed in a sharp suit, tall and lean. The assistant director said he was the biggest investor in the movie. That evening, the director treated everyone to dinner at a club. The atmosphere in the private room was a bit tense. "This movie has a kissing scene?" the distinguished investor asked. Yes, Mr. Jason said he was fine with a kissing scene before he signed the contract. The assistant director nodded eagerly. Jason chuckled. "Of course I can do it. In fact, a bed scene would be even better." "Jason," the investor cut him off, his voice calm and steady. "Don't make trouble for yourself." Everyone held their breath, afraid to speak. Only the sound of Oliver teaching me how to play dice broke the silence, as if we were in another world. Jason showed no fear. He raised an eyebrow and smiled. I said I can do it. I watched as the investor smiled and stubbed out the cigarette between his fingers. The next second, he grabbed Jason by the wrist and dragged him forcefully out of the room. After 3 seconds of silence, the lively atmosphere returned to the room. No one mentioned what had just happened. "What are you staring at? Have you figured it out yet?" Oliver gently flicked my ear. "Huh?" He nodded towards my dice cup. I called 3 4s. "What's your call?" I didn't get it. My mind was still reeling from the shocking scene. I answered subconsciously, "My name is Alex." That was the end of his lesson. I had a feeling I knew the deal between Jason and that man. Maybe Jason and Oliver's kissing scene wouldn't happen. And I was right. The next day, Jason, sporting a bruise on his lip, forced himself to speak. "Sorry, director, I can't do the kissing scene." The director could see what was going on, but he was still in a tough spot. But the kiss is a recurring motif throughout the film. If we cut it, the movie won't be complete. Jason wrung his hands, looking apologetic. As they reached a stalemate, Oliver and I walked out. Mr. Jason says he can't do the kissing scene." The director looked to Oliver for help. Oliver was holding a cup of soy milk. He stuck a straw in it and handed it to me before turning to the director. He shouldn't have even asked him. Jason sighed, his gaze wandering. Suddenly, his eyes landed on me. They lit up. "Director, we can get a kissing double." Jason trotted over to me. "Director, look." The lower half of his face looks so much like mine. "We can use a long shot and just not show his upper face, right?" The director studied my face carefully. It really is a close match." I was at a loss, not knowing whether to refuse or agree. Oliver spoke up for me. His expression was serious. No, I was stunned. Everyone looked at him. Oliver sounded like a consummate professional. His tone was very official. "My assistant has 0 acting experience, not to mention if word gets out that Mr. Jason used a double for a kissing scene. Won't that just create negative press for the movie?" Jason nodded in agreement. "Well, let's sign a non-disclosure agreement. The fact that I used a double can never get out." I suddenly understood that Oliver was, in his own way, protecting me, refusing to let my name or my full face appear on screen. I slowly pulled my gaze away from Oliver and looked at Jason, who had already made up his mind. "But I don't have any experience." Then came a soft laugh from behind me. It was Oliver. I meant I had no acting experience, but he had clearly taken it the wrong way. Jason waved his hand. "It's just a kiss. You don't have to say any lines." The director also looked at me as if I were his last hope. "Right, Mr. Pei will be leading the scene, so don't worry. We're about to start filming and there's no time to find another body double. I'll pay you 3 times the normal rate." And just like that, I cluelessly became Jason's kissing double, responsible for kissing Oliver throughout the entire movie. That night, long after everyone was asleep, Oliver snuck into my room. "What are you doing?" I groggily tried to push his hands away. Oliver pinned my hands down, pressing his body against mine. He whispered, "Rehearsing." The next moment, his lips were on mine. As our lips moved together, he pulled back slightly. He peppered kisses around my mouth. "Do you know what our first scene is?" I was struggling under his deliberately teasing kisses. I answered, panting, "I don't know." Oliver laughed and gently bit my Adam's apple. Then he pressed his lips back to mine. "It's a stolen kiss while you're sleeping." His tone was full of suggestion. So, you pretend to be asleep now, and I'll come kiss you, okay? I squeezed my eyes shut, not wanting to deal with him. If he hadn't woken me up in the first place, I would have been fast asleep. When Oliver leaned in to kiss me, I subconsciously kissed him back. He pulled away slightly. Don't respond, and don't resist. My stepbrother was teaching me how to act in bed. The thought made my face burn. This time, when Oliver leaned in to kiss me again, I closed my eyes and followed his instructions, accepting his kiss. But it didn't end with just a kiss. There were no kissing scenes for the first few days. I stood watching from a distance as Oliver and Jason nailed their scenes in one take. The moment the director called cut, the hand Oliver had on Jason's shoulder was immediately withdrawn. Jason's adoring gaze instantly turned into an eye roll. Just like that, these two people with zero chemistry started trending online. Oliver and Jason spark romance on set. Don't even bother closing hotel curtains. It's like a live show. I was sitting right next to Oliver when I saw the trending topic. There was a fresh hickey on his neck. Make sure you contact Rick and have him issue a denial. I'm gonna take a shower. Oliver playfully ruffled my hair, the implication obvious. The signal in the room was bad, so I made the call in the hallway. And that's when I ran into them. Jason was being held by the back of his neck by that investor. You've got some nerve, huh? Jason struggled. It wasn't me. That person in the video isn't me. You can't even recognize me anymore. Can you? It was me. Not Jason, me. That day was my first scene as the kissing double. Oliver had me pressed against the hotel bed, kissing me slowly and deliberately, even though the director and cameraman were right there. But the released video had edited everyone else out. And it was specifically shot from an angle where I looked exactly like Jason. It was obviously a deliberate attempt to stir up drama. After the rumors were debunked, Oliver and Jason's interactions became even colder. Oliver was never a warm person to begin with. And Jason, I think I was starting to understand why. The day after the investor left, Jason had noticeable dark circles under his eyes. There were also prominent red marks on his wrists. Mr. Jason, do you need me to get you some medicine? I looked at his wrist. Jason shook his head and thanked me. Then his expression immediately changed to one of gritted teeth. Just someone's sick little game. There was 1 week left until Oliver wrapped filming. I was visibly excited. Soon, Oliver and I would be free. One day, I suddenly remembered it had been a long time since I'd contacted Jenny. After all, she had always been pretty good to me. Just as I was planning to treat her to a farewell dinner, the news of Jenny's suicide swept across the entire internet. She had been driven to it by Rick. Rick's warning to me had once again come true. I felt like a traveler dying of thirst who finally finds an oasis, only to realize it's a mirage. The light at the end of the road went out with a bang. Jenny's last post was a recording of a conversation with Rick, along with evidence of the abuse she had suffered from him over the past 2 years. Rick, for the past 2 years, I've done everything you've asked without question. We had a deal. Once the 2-year contract was up, we would legally part ways and you would let me go. Rick just snorted, his tone contemptuous. Let you go find that woman? Then who's going to make money for me? Jenny, you've kept plenty of old bosses company these past 2 years. When you were under them, did you ever doubt if you were really gay, huh? Besides, if the girl you like knew you'd been with so many people, wouldn't she be disgusted by you? Jenny's voice trembled. You forced me to do all of that. Rick was very frank. Whether it was forced or voluntary, I have videos of you sleeping with them. Jenny, you're not going anywhere. Just stay here and behave. How about this? I'll find you a stable sponsor who's willing to keep you. How does that sound? The recording ended there. We never heard Jenny's response, but everything now pointed to her decision. Jenny couldn't take Rick's oppression anymore, so she chose to take him down with her. In her final words, she admitted to being in love with a woman, but she never revealed who it was. The latest update from the police was that Rick had fled. When I heard the news, I already had a bad feeling. Bro, do you think Rick will leak our photos too? Everyone now knew that Oliver and Jenny's relationship was just for PR. But no one had started to question Oliver's sexuality yet. Oliver pulled me into his arms. Don't be afraid. He didn't even try to comfort me with platitudes. We both knew it was only a matter of time before Rick came after us. On the day the weather forecast issued a typhoon warning, I got a call from Rick. Alex, wanna guess why I'm calling you? I remained silent. He was probably after money. But Rick had lived a life of luxury for so many years. I expected him to make an outrageous demand. That bitch Jenny exposed everything I've done over the years. I can't hide for much longer. But if I'm going down, or let's say, facing a bullet, I can't let you guys get off easy, can I? Rick, what do you mean? Alex. His voice was full of certainty. Get me $5 million in installments. I want to go to America. Once I'm in the States, I'll delete the photos for good. Why should I believe you? He snorted. You're in no position to negotiate with me. You should know I made Oliver who he is, and I can end his career just as easily. After this ominous statement, he hung up. The phone slipped from my hand. I was standing in the dressing room, but I felt like I was on the edge of a cliff. Today was the last day of filming for Oliver. We were so close to finally being free. Outside the door, I could hear crew members passing by. Their conversation drifted clearly into my ears. Did you see that post from a new account, probably Rick's burner? Said he's going to expose Oliver or something. I saw it. If Oliver did something to get himself cancelled, does that mean the movie won't be released? Why do you care so much? It's not like we invested in it. Just wait for the drama to unfold. A large chunk of the money Oliver had earned over the years had gone into Rick's pocket. Not only could I not come up with $5 million, but more importantly, how could I help the man who murdered Jenny escape? After Oliver's rap party, we sat on the sofa in the hotel room. Rick contacted you? He was fiddling with a lighter, not a trace of worry in his eyes. The rumors were already swirling online. There was no way Oliver hadn't heard something. Alex. He rarely used my full name. His casual tone didn't sound like he had given it much thought. I'm not afraid of public opinion. I'm not afraid of being cyberbullied. When you were sick, I understood that being alive is more important than anything. Worst case scenario, Rick leaks the photos. You'll also be exposed to the public, judged, even insulted. Are you afraid? Outside, the wind and rain raged. But for the first time, my heart felt calm. I'm a little scared, bro. Then, a small smile curved my lips, one of relief from having a heavy burden lifted. So, you have to help me get through it. Oliver tossed the half-smoked cigarette into the ashtray and gave a wry smile. Then he pulled me into his arms. I'll be right there with you. During those 2 years of constant fear, all I was worried about was the impact of public opinion on Oliver. But if he could handle it, I had no right to fall apart. At that moment, my phone rang again. It was Rick. I answered and put it on speaker. Alex, how's the money coming along? Oliver let out a cold laugh. You're not getting a single cent. Rick was stunned for a moment. Oliver, then he scoffed. I'm not wasting my breath on you. Where's Alex? Have Alex call me back tomorrow morning. That's the last chon. Before he could finish, Oliver hung up the phone. We didn't do anything that night. Oliver just held me in his arms, just like when we were little. A slightly older him, comforting a much younger me to sleep. I think that was the most peaceful night's sleep I'd had in a long time. When I woke up the next day, I was alone in the room. Oliver was gone. I took a deep breath and opened X. On the trending list, Oliver retires from acting. Rick arrested. Oliver is gay. Previous tweet was a hint all along. I froze for a second before my trembling fingers clicked on the topic. Oliver announced his sexuality at a press conference. Can anyone dig up who his boyfriend is? A video clip was attached below. It wasn't leaked by Rick. Or rather, Rick didn't get the chance to leak it. Oliver came out himself beforehand. That morning, Oliver had contacted the media himself, publicly stating that he had a boyfriend and was officially retiring from acting. At the same time, he also revealed the story of Rick's blackmail over the past 2 years. The rain from the typhoon was relentless. Despite the extreme weather, when I arrived at the scene, It was packed with fans and media. Oliver stood on the stage. "I'm sorry, everyone." He then bowed deeply. Amidst the chaotic noise, I could hear a few curses. I couldn't help but feel a pang in my heart. Until the voices grew louder. I stopped trying to push through the crowd. "That fucking asshole Rick? Ugh. Bro, please don't retire." "Yeah, Rick can go rot in jail. I hope he dies in there." There were also some rational fans speaking up. "Oliver, can you hear me?" She was screaming so hard her voice was almost gone. "Everyone be quiet and listen to me." Her shout silenced most of the noisy, struggling fans in an instant. This must be a fansite master. "Oliver, do you remember me?" Oliver looked down at her and picked up the microphone. "I remember." She choked up a bit. "What do you remember?" "The first time I was mobbed by fans at the airport, there were 7 of them and you were one of them. I saw you at the airport many times after that. You wrote me a lot of letters. Almost every time I saw you, you never had your phone out to take pictures of me." The girl sniffled, trying hard to hold back her tears. "Because besides the airport and press conferences, I barely ever got to see you. Instead of wasting time recording, I wanted to use that time to see if you were getting enough rest." "Oliver, it was Rick's fault. Why are you taking the blame? Do you really think we care that much about your sexuality? Almost every fan here fell in love with you because of your movies. You don't need to be in a fake relationship. You don't need to hide who you're with. We're not going to abandon you over something like this. So, can you please not retire?" By the end, she was crying uncontrollably. A wave of sobs rippled through the crowd, with people quietly repeating that they didn't want Oliver to retire. The man on stage had his face mostly hidden by the brim of his baseball cap, his expression unreadable. Even when the press conference ended, Oliver didn't give a clear answer. It seemed like everyone was starting to accept the fact that he was going to retire. After dealing with the Rick situation, the company frantically called me. "Retire? What do you mean, retire? He wants to quit just because he's in a relationship? Then who do I have left in this company? Oliver, if you break your contract and retire, you might as well just kill me now." The boss launched into a barrage of guilt-tripping threats. I went to take Oliver's hand. "Bro, when you were standing up there alone today, were you scared?" With Rick arrested, he seemed much more relaxed. He raised an eyebrow and smiled. "It was okay. I thought someone might throw eggs at me." After a moment of silence, I finally asked, "Bro, do you really want to retire? Do you really not like acting?" Oliver fell silent. He took out a pack of cigarettes, pulled one out, and held it in his hand. But he never lit it. "I don't know." He fiddled with the cigarette, looking down, his voice very soft. "Before, I just saw acting as a job, a task. All I thought about was getting you out of here. But it seems, now that I'm really not going to act anymore, it feels a little bad." I turned on the TV and put on one of his movies. "Oliver, see for yourself." He lifted his eyes and met the gaze of his on-screen self. "I've been with you on every set. I know. You fell in love with acting without even realizing it. You seriously study your characters, you have high standards for your performance, and you'll ask for a retake if you're not satisfied. The you on set is alive." It was rare to see Oliver look so lost. That night, I sat with him on the sofa, watching every single one of his movies all night long. We didn't even finish by morning. I didn't ask him again if he was going to retire, but as I was getting drowsy and about to fall asleep, Oliver stood up. He ruffled my hair, a helpless smile on his face. "Well, I guess I have to go apologize again. This press conference was arranged by the company." He was still apologizing to his fans. That girl was still there. Only this time, the content was completely different. He apologized for being impulsive the day before, for not considering the fans' feelings. Finally, he told everyone, "I have a movie coming out next week. I hope you'll all come to see it. This is my first time trying a role like this. If I have the chance in the future, I'll explore more different characters and genres." The moment Oliver finished speaking, a low cheer erupted from below the stage, because he was telling everyone in his own way that he wasn't retiring. But this time he was doing it for himself, for the career he loved. Because Rick never got the chance to leak the photos, I was still well protected by Oliver. In the entertainment world, besides the occasional troll using his sexuality to attack him, everyone was busy trying to figure out who the brother-in-law was. The general public couldn't care less about Oliver's sexuality. Their attention was more focused on his acting. I didn't have to hide anymore. The storm in the entertainment industry passed quickly. One day, Oliver and I went to the cemetery to see Jenny. I thought she really was beautiful. Even in a black and white photo, her beauty was undeniable. Before we left, I noticed the corner of a coat hiding behind a wall. It was the girl Jenny had asked me to give a gift to. I thought the days ahead would be very hard for her to move on from. What are you looking at? Oliver nudged my head, turning my gaze back to him. Nothing. Oliver took my hand, rubbing my ring finger. Let's take some time off at the end of the year and go to Belgium. I squeezed his hand back without asking any more questions. Okay. On the last day of the New Year's holiday, just the two of us, Oliver and I, went to Belgium to get our marriage license. That night, Oliver generously announced on his social media that he was married, and he asked everyone to please stop digging into my identity. The internet crashed again that night, but no one would ever stand in Oliver's way again. People always say the entertainment industry is a bottomless cesspool, a world of climbing over others, of filth and vanity. But you can't deny that there are still people who work diligently and stay true to themselves. It's because of people like them that the fans show up. To build each other up, a two-way street.